It was John Maxwell who said, "A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." This message is for women that want to leave an imprint on the world. I've raised my children, but I still believe I can help in some way by participating and teaming up with like-minded women. We stress so much about giving our daughters equal opportunity as they grow up, in school, in sports, and finally in business. Ladies, does not our motherhood extend past these imaginary borders of our country?
The water crisis in poor countries is a crisis that costs lives, it deprives people of their dignity, it forces women into arduous labour, it keeps children out of school. And that's why we're arguing in the report that if the world is serious about the Millennium Development Goals, they've got to get the story right on water. The title of the report is Beyond Scarcity. So the crisis that we're talking about is not ultimately about scarcity, it's about the management and the governance of water. What we're trying to do in the report is to draw attention to the way that water is priced, the way that it's allocated to different groups in society. Not having water means that women are walking 3 or 4 hours a day to carry 20-kilo cans of water back to their homes. Not having enough water means that you have insufficient water to maintain the most basic functions of life, to keep your children healthy, to quench your thirst, to wash yourself in, to maintain your dignity. There are over 2 billion people in the world who don't have access to sanitation. But actually, it wasn't really till I stood here that I understood what that means. What we've got here is a toilet for 71,000 people. These are plastic bags that are full of human excrement. People just dump them here because they have no alternative. When it rains, this whole hillside of human excrement and plastic bags floods, come straight down this hill into this residential area down here. And even worse than that, what you've got here is the main water pipe, which is serving the whole slum. This water pipe is completely covered with human excrement. In some places it's leaking, so you've got excrement actually leaching into the water supply. You see an example of this problem right here. This is a feeder pipe. This water that's full of human excrement, and it's being sucked into this pipe right here where you can see it leaking. Now this is basically going to carry human excrement right into the water that somebody drinks down this lane here. And that really helps to explain why you've got such high death rates in this slum.
Kila mtu anatupa uchafu hapo. Sasa hewa yote inaingia kwa nyumba. Tena maji mvua ikinyesha, maji inaingia hapa, alafu inapitia pale. Inajaa kabisa. Yaani inajaa. Mpaka tumetoboa pale, ndio inaelekea huko chini.
We were just told by one of the teachers that it's not unusual for 10, in a class of 26 children, it's not unusual for 10 of them to be absent because of problems with diarrhea. I think this demonstrates as powerfully as anything you can think of the links between what happens in water and sanitation and what happens in education. What sort of opportunities in life do these kids have? And it's an example of how unless you can get this right, you're not going to get what happens in the school right. The answers to the problem
Think about
vary.
something together. Imagine, if you will, one drop of rain and the effect it has on an entire pond. Short, tall, rich or poor, that drop is surrounded on every side by others. Now let's think about the choices we've made, productive and great choices, and of course we've all made some choices that were not so good. You will never influence the world if you try to be like it. Having influence is not about elevating self, but about lifting others. The way you express yourself, be it well-meaning or not, is creating your legacy. Your life story has the ability to increase the quality of other women's lives. So I'm going to tell you my story. I'm Casey Barber, and I didn't always set out to be a successful entrepreneur and place new life-sustaining water wells around the world. My life, my story, has come full circle. Since I worked 5 years as a teenager at my dad's drugstore at the soda fountain in an American small town that still celebrated every holiday with a parade down Main Street. I've always had a love for learning and maintained a 4.0 grade point average. Then with love, I planned my family. God blessed me with 3 beautiful baby boys. Keeping family as my focus, I was head of women's ministries, and I was the steering coordinator for mothers of preschoolers for several years, and I enjoyed pouring into those women and those new moms. I studied interior design and became a realtor.
The first time this video will be viewed will be at the Women's Empowerment Network Conference in Atlanta. Look, it's a very warm night on the 400 freeway. The convertible top is down and the wind's in your hair. I will continue with my life story, but first, you are cruising without a care in the world. You're in the car of your dreams here, be it a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. Is your car red, or is it that sexy white one? See, you're racing down the 400. It feels like you're flying now. Let's enjoy this dream. Right now, you're unstoppable. Up ahead, we're going to merge onto the 85. We're coming around this corner, and you know everyone you pass wishes they were you. Just around this next corner, there it is, the beautiful Atlanta skyline. Wow! Our exit is coming up. We're going to take the 7585. Of course, it's called Freedom Parkway. Since this is a dream, I promise it has a perfect ending. But before we get to that, let's pretend to pull up and stop at a red light. You notice someone huddled at the curb. Wait, before even one thought pops into your head about how unfortunate this person is, you make out their face, and it's me. How did she get here? Let's get into the details. Remember, she was a small-town girl with big dreams. The American dream. It worked because she had worked so very long and so very hard. Family was her focus, the love of her life, those wonderful sons. She was the psychological mother and father since their father left their house at around 5 a.m. and returned after 11 almost every night. When her husband wanted a restaurant, she coordinated and handled all of the business and legal issues, purchased a building, and trained for 4 weeks in Denver. After training her first crew of 12, she set opening week records when the person she trusted most, her husband, wrote her a letter to take their sons and leave. She was blindsided and packed up their things. On the day she and the boys were leaving, her husband did the unthinkable. Get ready. There she was, a good wife, a great mother, with her innocent children, when he pulled a knife on them. Domestic violence only happens to other people until it happens to us. Like the news media is beginning to show, it's more common than most people admit, even to themselves, and that's the tragedy. Let's shine the light on this darkness. Going on, she endured a small-town backroom divorce where the banker sat on the front row. The judge deemed her near $1 million holdings worth net zero and gave everything she owned to her husband. Next, she endured what no woman should ever go through. The small-town judge ruled her children back to live with a man they'd never had a relationship with. They were no longer allowed to be with the one person, their mother, who loved them the most, who had been the only person to show them love. It was the perfect crime. They were alive, and she couldn't be with them. Even married the second time, she still believed in the fairy tale. She had another beautiful baby boy because happy ever after was still in her heart. She got the beautiful house, the house she had designed, chose the colors for, the carpet and finishes. After 3 years, she had to leave it to pay for another business. She's never known true security. She was the servant leader and loved serving at a church of 5,000. Then her greatest dream came true, not because it was the largest church in the world, but because her heart was to help women. She was the guest of honor at the Hillsong Women's Conference. Her business was just offered another $1 million contract, and she could finally begin to help her friends build housing and feed the orphans. Except there was another one-sided divorce, and she was left homeless. You're in the driver's seat of your life. You're at this stoplight at this moment. Will you give her a cup of water? Just a small act of kindness and movement in the right direction can open opportunities for many. Your destiny, it's found in God's dreams for you. Hers were answered, eventually. God signed His name to your destiny too. Dream it. Look inward. Since God wove you in your mother's womb, He wove those things in your heart. They're the things that make you come alive. There is something we can all do.
It's time to take the blinders off and realize 2 important facts. The water we drink in this nation is held to very old and outdated standards. When people of this nation turn on the tap, they're putting things like lead, arsenic, and even microorganisms in their body. We need a solution. But before I tell you how this can be done, let me tell you how much I care about the people that are here. Don't let another day go by. This isn't a charity, it's a way you can increase the quality of your children's and your children's children's water. This country, while instilling wells around the world. Everything happens for a reason. Do you believe that? I wasn't sure I did until I pieced together the seasons of my life. And now that my life has come full circle, you see, you know what it took, this small town girl, to be telling you this story, one woven together as only God could. You may not have known, but you yourself can stop this crisis from happening. To a great extent, you can enjoy this ice bank technology and the sparkling water, doctors and dentists' offices, restaurants and hotels, eventually every public space. Connect with me, Casey Barber, at SodaStreamProfessional.com, so together we can change the world.